Hello, hello. How are you, Jen?
Hey, Michelle. I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. Good to see you.
Good to see you as well. Whoa, that's not.
Making sure we jumped on Facebook there. We had a few technical difficulties, but here we are. So, we've got a fun class for everyone tonight. Welcome to the Whamley. I see there's about 17 people on already, so that's great. We're doing the art of fish handling and photography, and we thought it'd be fun. It's kind of the off season, right?
Yeah, waiting patiently.
I know. I think some people have ice, but for the most part, people are waiting, and the snow is kind of complicating it a little bit. So let's get to it. All right. So I'm Michelle Morey, and I'm the president of Women Anglers of Minnesota.
And I'm Jen DeWald, a member and the co-director of Only Fish and Shit Show with Elizabeth Marsh.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it, they're on Facebook and Instagram, and it is funny. All right. So, a little history about how this came about. I had done this class probably about 3 years ago. We had an educational summit at Shields, and I thought it would be fun to put together. I'll go back to this one to put together a class on fish photography because we spent a lot of time posting pictures of fish. And then as I created the class, it was like, oh, one of the biggest factors to getting a good fish picture is the fish hold. And then that kind of led to fish safety. And so it evolved from something that was kind of fun and lighthearted to something that had some actual substance on how to handle fish. So we do have a disclaimer. Um, the presentation is not intended to judge your fish holds. Last time I did the class, everyone was like, I feel like you're judging my holds. And I wasn't. But we want you to be able to, if you're spending a lot of time posting pictures, we want you to be ready when you catch that biggie, or we want you to capture a good shot as long as you are taking a picture. Permission was granted to use the photos from everyone in this presentation, right? We had that post where we asked for submissions, and then some of the pictures are from the last time I did it. And then we certainly do not expect that all fish photos are perfect. But thank you for the people that did let us use their fish photos. So it'll help all of us learn a little bit. Content, it's fish safety, proper holds, fish photo falls. That's kind of the fun part where we're a little jokey about some of the holds. But talk about better holds equal better photos, some next level tips in photography and things like that. And then we'll talk about fish donkey because that's also very important to a lot of us, like the tournaments, especially with the Ice Queen coming up.
Okay, so we'll start off with some fish safety and a little bit of humor. Like Michelle was saying, like we are doing our best to have the best photographs, and sometimes it becomes a foul. So So some things to think about. So when you're managing fish, to think about the safety of the fish before we want those photos to bring memories into our lives, but also making sure the fish gets back in. We have 15 seconds written here. It could take longer, but do your best to get the fish back in the water. And then while you're taking hooks out or preparing for that photograph, get the fish back in the water in the net. The smaller fish, even put them in your live well while you're preparing. And then I have an example on this, but really avoiding the towel hold of the fish so that we don't hurt the protective slime. Make sure your hands are wet. And if you're using gloves, use gloves with a rubber lining on them so it doesn't really hurt that protective slime. Things to think about, bring that net, the appropriate size net, especially for the big fish. When you have the larger fish, and we'll go over some of these with the photos, like really support the fish's belly. And then something to think about now with ice fishing season, those metal boards, making sure that you have plastic boards so the fish doesn't get harmed by sticking to that metal board. And in the summer, those plastic boards get hot, so make sure they're dipped in the water so the fish is protected. And then we'll talk a little bit about tools to bring along with you, but a few things are the pliers, the mouth spreaders, and wire cutters.
Yeah, all great tips. I know whenever I see a towel hold, that's a tough one for me to see. Unless people are keeping the fish, it's just that slime is so important to the fish. This one, I will say, my photo there, that was a selfie. It was a put and take trout lake. We were keeping that one, thankfully. But that those trout can get slippery. That shot right out of my hands. So along with fish safety and looking at what the best holds are for both the fish and good pictures, it's the gill hold is what we talk about. So this is used best with especially fish with teeth like pike and muskie, walleye, burbot, and bowfin, or larger fish. So basically, you're pulling out that skin that you can see on the top picture there. So you've got the nice arrows in there showing the gill plate, and then the gill raker is the red part, and that is what you want to avoid for yourself and the fish. So that is critical to the fish's survival. So you can't mess that up. And if you do happen to grab it there, you'll see you really get almost like it's like a rug burn, or it's a tough cut that you get on your hand. But when you have, let's say it's a pike, you've got it, and we'll show some better pictures, but you're pulling that out. I like to run my hand up along the skin. I get to the top underneath the mouth, and then I've got my fingers in there, and then I'm pinching hard with my thumb to make sure that I have a good grip, and then lifting up the fish underneath. One thing that we talked about is that hook location, right? Before you do this, especially you've caught some big muskies where you didn't know exactly where the hook was, and you need to know where that hook is before you slide your hand under the gill plate, because you could also have an issue where the fish shakes and now you've got the hook in your hand. So you kind of became a master at this one.
A lot better than the beginning of the season for sure.
Right.
And the other note too, Michelle, is we talked about this a lot, where if you don't know where that hook is or where your lure is, to use the mouth spreader and take a look before you stick your fingers in there too.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And this is kind of the fun part, the fish photo files. So we've got a few of these, like my husband always jokes about, but we've got the reverse hold, we've got the death squeeze, we've got the scarecrow hold, we've got the finger foul, tail trouble, and face blocking. Our friend Elizabeth Marsh, also co-host of the Only Fish and Shit Show, she graciously let us use some of these pictures, but this one, she's got a bowfin, we think.
Yeah.
What I do like about it, though, is she's got the net underneath in case she drops it. So she is thinking of safety there. But let's get into some of these holds.
Okay, so the reverse hold. So just from this year, that the reverse hold is really when you're picking the fish up off the bump board or out of the net, making sure that you're working on putting your hand underneath the gill plate and grabbing the fish and lifting directly up. What happens is, especially with pike, and my example there is, I was a little bit nervous, right? So grabbing the face, picking up the fish and realizing like, oh, I have to take a picture now. That same day, there was a young man that I'm now friends with on the dock that said, I think I can help you with this. And he worked with me. So that was one day learning how to hold a pike better this year, to ensure that A, it looks better. I don't look like I'm floating on a dock holding a fish strangely. And then B, it's safety for the fish as well.
Well, the first, like when I look at your picture on the right, I notice a fish. When I look at your picture, or that's a friend of mine on the left who doesn't fish much, and I was like, I don't even know what to tell you to do here, Francine. I don't see your fish. Middle one, I don't see the fish as much. I'm seeing arms first.
Yeah.
But we've also talked about you can't get experience holding fish until you catch fish. So that's what makes it tricky. So being with other people that can kind of share the experience and learn from them, and even with this, if we're kind of giving you tips on what to do from the beginning. And again, with the pike, you're gilling it here, and then you're lifting straight up. So yeah, great job on mastering that pretty quickly. This is the death squeeze, we call it. Now, there is a time and a place for pinching, especially smaller pike, I think can be really difficult. They squirm a lot. If let's say I also have a bass that has a crankbait in its mouth and you don't want to go in and lip it, um, there is a hold where you're clamping on both of the on the top and each side of the gill, and that will calm the fish down very quickly. What you want to be careful with though is if you press too hard on that, it indents, and that's when you have trouble, and those rakers get damaged. And what's the noise that you say you hear?
It's a squishy sound. You know it. When you squeeze too hard, they let you know.
Yeah, right. You got so be careful of the death squeeze. The scarecrow hold. Oh yeah.
On the death squeeze, Michelle, like just what you were talking about is calming the fish down. Is we'll get into talking about the bowfin, but another fish that does well with like grabbing the gills. They're really strong on their heads, so really controlling that fish a little bit better.
Yeah, I would say if you are a newbie and you're afraid of the fish, I would first calm it down with that and then work to get your hand underneath instead of if it's flapping around and now you're trying to, reach your hand in, and it's tricky. It takes practice.
Yeah.
The scarecrow hold, my husband is the one that named this one. That's our son Jesse in the middle. But for some reason, people when they have a fish, they like to get those elbows up there. It's not the end of the world. Nicolette shared her picture. She's talking to it on the phone. Jesse's got his up. The other one's a friend of mine. But we'll show you how to fix that. Is basically you just drop your arms to the side and turn your wrists a little bit. We've got some better pictures coming up next. But that is the scarecrow hold.
And then the finger foul. Lots of fingers. A couple of things to think about is when you're holding the fish, just get your fingers out of the way. You can put the body of the fish in front of your thumb. You'll see some examples of the smaller fish like the sunfish or the bluegill, ways to kind of support the fish in your hand so you can see the whole fish and really accentuate. And we'll give some tips around some camera usages that will improve that as well.
Yeah, and even like Corey's bass on the left, it's not horrible, but if you just tuck those fingers in, we wouldn't see them as much. And Jen, she posted that on our request page, and she'd said that was her first bullhead, and so she wasn't quite sure where to hold that one. I'm thankful she didn't get stung.
Yeah, it's a very loving picture, though.
Yes. For sure. Tail troubles. So there's a couple things that can go wrong or that are important with the tails. The first one, Stephanie Kelzer's got a beautiful pike. That hold really isn't the end of the world. But again, what happened is with all of these pictures, when you're picking the fish up, which I could show a little bit better. Let's say when you're lifting, my name's walking it. You're lifting, you're gilling the fish, and you're just lifting straight up, right? So if you gill it and then you reach in the front, now you've got the arm issue. So just remember keeping your arms along your body and lifting. That's Melissa Wagner. That's from the previous one. She's got a trout. Again, not the end of the world, but if her hand was on her body side, we'd see the full fish. And then you just really don't want to lose that tail, especially on a big fish. I think that was Brenda had said that was one of her biggest sturgeon, and rightly so. And Lisa Dorley, we've got a missing tail there. That's on the photographer, and so we've got two things. The person holding the fish needs to do their best, but the photographer needs to help and say, "Hey, I can't see the tail. Let's get that up."
Yeah, I think that it's a big. I'm going to reinforce the photographer, whether you're the photographer or you're having somebody photo your fish, things to watch, right? The tail, we'll talk about lighting, but I think the photographer is just as important as the person holding the fish in a lot of these pictures.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, face blocking. So here's Stephanie with her gigantic crappie. It's a beautiful fish, but you can see Self-corrected. We couldn't see that was Stephanie in the picture on the left, but she lowers the fish. The lighting happens to be perfect on that photo. It changes, and then you get to really enjoy the size of the fish. And then she's got her arms pulled in, and just massive fish. And then the face blocking, I can't really see Michelle because she's being blocked there.
Yeah. I've got you're right. The picture is actually blocking my face.
And then again, another finger, like hand in the fish picture, and then the little guy who's one of our members' kids.
Yeah, it's Estella's son. Just adorable. We want to see his cute face. So it's hard for Nita to get the picture down. Funny story with Stephanie. This is the current WAM record holding crappie, and she had texted me the picture, and I said, "Is that AI?" And she was a little insulted, but it is so huge that it doesn't look real. So I'm glad she was able to take the first ones, realize she was blocking her face, and then now we can see who actually caught the fish.
Beautiful fish.
All right, so we'll do some examples of better holds equal better photos. The old panfish here. So here now on these pictures, you see the fish is really the first thing that you see, and then you see the people in the background. The one on the left is my husband. We've got some portrait mode being used there. Really, what he's doing is his hand is out, and it's relaxing kind of on the back on his thumb. You also want to be careful with those holds because if they flop, now you don't have the best grip on them. Sarah Trampy up there with just a beautiful crappie. And then we've got Erica. That's probably a safer hold with Erica with her thumb in the mouth. And then Tiffany Walsh has a great one too with the sunfish. So the first thing you see in these pictures are the fish, and you're not seeing arms or hands or fingers.
And I wanted to note on Scott's photo there, just like because of that mode that photograph's being taken, you can really catch the essence of the face of that fish that you don't see often in the beautiful sunfish.
You love sunfish. Not as much as walleye. Okay, bass. You do not want that 30-degree angle hold on the picture on the left. That's my nephew. It does damage to the jaw. You just don't want to do that. The middle one there that does show my arms are tucked. It's tuck and kind of turn your wrists a little bit so the fish are straight on, not seeing the stomach. And then you usually do see a vertical hold like that on bass, and for the most part it's okay. If there's a larger bass, you do want to end up supporting the belly just a little bit, and you can do a complete vertical hold too if you want, or horizontal hold if you want. But so those are some good examples for bass.
Hey, and the northern pike. So here's two examples of Scott on the left-hand side there. The gill plate hold, supporting the fish, that nice bend of the back. And then in comparison to, like, we see this all the time. It's kind of not intended, but holding those big fish vertically can cause some damage to their jaw. So especially if you're returning the fish to the water, which that size fish would be hopefully returning to the water, just ensuring that you're supporting the belly and really ensuring that the jaw is protected.
Yeah, that makes me cringe when I see that photo myself now. But this is kind of an example of when you know better, you do better.
Yeah.
And a lot of times people just don't know that. You see that hold quite a bit because it elongates the fish. You see kind of the size of it. But when we're releasing these, we don't want to do any damage to the fish. Musky hold. This, I tell you, is a quintessential musky hold. The way she's doing everything right. She's down low, which I think is important when you have these large fish. She's supporting that muskie with the knee. You don't see a single finger in this picture. So she's got safety concerns going on there, and then all you see is the fish, not one finger. So that's fantastic.
That's beautiful. Okay, and so a little bit of reflection of what I talked about earlier. So being prepared, muskie, other large fish. If you don't have the tools, a lot of times you can put yourself in a situation where it could harm the fish. So have those long pliers in your tackle. Small bolt cutters. The reason, if the hook gets stuck in you or the fish, there's a way to get that hook broken off and taken out. The long Baker hook out tool is that letter C, just for deeper, if you need to go deeper into the fish's mouth. And of course, before doing that, you would use your mouth spreaders, multiple sizes. There's tiny ones, there's small ones, but for the muskie and the larger muskies and the larger northern pike, it's nice to have the appropriate size mouth spreaders to get in there to make sure the hook's taken out. And then the hook pick, large nets, bump boards, and then of course having friends with you, because Michelle and I have done a lot of talking about, like, when you have those large fish and really being able to manage them, it takes more than one person to do it. Otherwise, there's a risk of time out of the water, and then it's difficult to manage them.
Yeah, I think it's very difficult. Yeah. Tracy had said people call you out on that vertical hold, which is so true. And I'm always torn when I see it, because I don't want to make somebody feel bad about this fish that they're super excited about. So this is part of, just educating and helping people understand the safest holds for these fish. Here's your favorite fish, the walleye. These are all great pictures. We've got Gina Hiddle. Nice to get a little variation in the head up and the tail down. I don't see any fingers there. Nice greenback for Shanda and Liz Colson. Again, a great hold. I love to see the emotion in it. And then Andrea Craig. That's a beautiful walleye. I think that for me, the gill hold on a walleye, especially if it's not a really big one, they're a little smaller space, and sometimes it can get tougher to get in there. But she's got a great hold on that. And don't our sun shirts look really good too?
Really look good. Look at them pull out that color in the walleye too.
Pop the color there. Yeah. So those are some great holds.
Okay, the catfish. I really learned to love these fish this year. They're things to watch out for. So things to think about when you're holding these fish is get them under control. Watch your fingers with those sharp spines and the dorsal fins. When you're picking these up, a lot of times if you take them by the tail and run your hand up underneath the belly, that there's a lot more control in the fish.
Yeah.
Also, with the flat heads, you can put your hands in the mouth. They will clamp down on you, but if you kind of pitch them back slightly, they don't clamp down as much. But gorgeous fish. And then as we look through here, there's both the gill hold and the body hold on controlling the fish.
Yeah. You can also put your thumb in the catfish, the channel cats, but I had one shake and it just shredded my thumb. So I prefer the hold. I like Katie's hold. She is gilling it. She's got her hand underneath. Mine, I'm holding the tail, little handsy, and then I did run my other hand up to the front fins and just had it kind of right underneath that. But yeah, it is a fun fish. You can't beat the fight.
It's awesome.
Trout are probably one of the most sensitive fish that you will deal with. So here, and it's helpful for all fish, but it's essential that you're wetting your hands before you touch them. I always hold them over the water. A lot of times I'll keep a net underneath, control it with the tail. The one on the right is a steelhead. Again, I've got my hand reversed, should be in the back of it. But Katie's got one from a put and take lake. That's a nice brook trout. Again, you're seeing the fish, not her hands. And then the one up on top, you never gill hold a trout. It's a big no-no. These are such sensitive fish. Corey was keeping those, so it's fine for the picture. But if you're releasing the fish, you just absolutely cannot put your hands in the gills.
And then of note on the trout as well, Michelle, is getting closer to the ground, like kneeling down. It's important to keep them close to the water. So if they do get out of your hands, they don't get hurt.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. I'm almost always kneeling in my with my trout pictures. All right, sturgeon.
Sturgeon. All right. So to talk about the correct hold of the sturgeon is good belly support. Good, and we have Elena, our sturgeon queen, holding that belly, holding the tail, and getting the whole picture. Sorry, I'm using my hands. Whole fish inside the picture as the correct hold. Now, Elena, share these photos with what not to do with a sturgeon. So that to the right there, that bad bear hug, described as bad bear hug, just hugging a sturgeon. Not great. Also, that fish is covered in ice, so I'm concerned there. And then the gill plate, don't grab the sturgeon by the gill plate. And
Oh,
then again, that vertical hold, which is a no-no for those beautiful
vertical
fish.
gill plate hold. My God. Yeah, Elena put this together for me for the last time we did it. So yeah, very helpful on that. Bowfin, we tried to pick some of the harder ones on the Wham Slam too. So bowfin or dogfish, they can be tough. Like you can gill these, but I'll tell you, the first time I ever caught one, my husband helped land it with, and I didn't even know what it was. He landed it with a gill hold, and it clamped down so hard on his hand that he thought he broke his finger. So you do have to be careful. But Deb's got a beautiful fish here. She's gilling it. Renee also. She's got the fin is flaring, which is fantastic.
Beautiful.
And this one, I'm trying to do the splits like Elizabeth Marsh for extra flexibility, and then missed the tail a little bit. So we've got a tail issue on that one, but those are fun. Ta-da!
Yeah, I wish we had Pink Pony Club playing right now. So the carp queen is in Elizabeth Marsh is our Wham carp lady. So basically, what we're looking at here is with carp, it's also important getting down closer to the ground with those big fish that are jumping out of your hand. I know that you can gill this fish. You can also support its belly. Squatting, using your knee, getting down on the ground for those photographs to get some good photos of them. And then if you fish for carp long enough, apparently you get little mice that come follow you around and support you, like the picture on the left.
On the left, she's got two of them.
She's got two little happy mice.
I think this is also a hard one to get your hand under the gill. Sometimes they're so strong.
Yeah.
But I think these fish are hardy. I inevitably get them on my body and my clothes. You can see my pants. I got slimed, and the smell is not good. So the better you can hold them and maintain them, the better your wardrobe will hold up.
And the smell grows on you over time, I think.
Really. I haven't reached that. Now, musky smell. I like the musky smell, but carp I haven't gotten there. All right, so next level, we've got some size assistance. We're going to capture the emotion, different poses, taking pictures by yourself, portrait mode, create a fish album on your phone, when to stop a video, and then some fish donkey tips. So size assistance, that's another one of the things where, people like to hold the fish close to the camera, and I've got no problem with this. This is Matt Johnson. I think it's a beautiful picture. He is holding it out. I think when people get called out is when you can see the arm is completely straight. But if you got it bent and you're holding it out, more power to you. We want to see that fish. There's something new on the iPhone, and it's called 0.5, and there's two reasons to use it. If you're in tight quarters, especially now with ice fishing, if you're in an ice house and somebody's got a fish and you can't like back up enough to get it in, 0.5 will kind of widen what you're seeing. So it helps with that. It's also can be a little bit fun with some pictures. We'll use it on 0.5, and then we'll get close to the fish. And it'll make the fish look big, and it'll make your legs look really skinny. As you can see in the picture. But that's a fun tool to use.
And then capturing that emotion. So really have some fun with it, right? the reason why we photograph these fish, like thinking over time, we used to mount them on the wall to catch a big fish, throw them up on the walls, and then they collect dust for a long period of time. So now, really, we're talking a lot about like capturing those moments with the fish. Bring your happy smiles, those joyous moments that will stay with us for a long time. And then just a note there, like Michelle holding the fish forward. I love that angle of looking at a catfish, especially with those beautiful faces.
It does look like they're smiling. Yeah. I do. Yeah. I think you are the queen of capturing emotion. Your excitement always shows through the pictures. And when I'm the photographer, I love taking pictures like the whole time as people are getting ready. You know, sometimes I use those more than the actual picture where people are set and ready to go. Let's see. Yeah, Pat saying the difference between men and women is women smile in their fish pictures. Sure do. And then mix up the poses. You don't need every picture the same of, you know, the vertical or horizontal hold of the fish. Get it in the water. Get different fun poses. I actually love to take pictures, fishing pictures without a fish in it. To kind of, I like to tell a story of the event. The one on the left, that's one that was really, it just kind of captures the fun of the night. And then the one on the right, this is, and again, this tells a story. This is Chrissy when we were on the meetup at Big Stone, and she went on a run of, I think it was her sixth master angler in one spot. And she says, yeah, which she's showing with her fingers. She said, hey, Maury, I was behind her. Maury, hold up 6 fingers. This is my one. So just kind of tell a story with the picture too. So not always the same thing.
Okay, so exposure, so the dark and light. Really important, great examples here of when you're taking photographs or when somebody's taking pictures of you or taking selfies, making sure that sun is facing your face and the fish so you really get those colors and light to be able to really highlight the fish. And then at night, or even now with ice fishing with the dark, if you're the person that's getting your picture taken, turn your headlamp off, and then make sure that the person that's taking pictures of you has enough light exposure so that you can get good photos. I have one of the light stands that we've been using this year for out catfishing, where you can kind of put the light in front of the person that's getting their photograph taken so that you can see them better. I'm happy to share if anyone wants to message me. I have some good recommendations for lights for nighttime, and also while you're in your ice houses, into your ice hubs, making sure that you have good lighting for your fish coming through the ice.
Yeah, this is the time of year where people are out at night quite a bit. I love, as Elizabeth Marsh commented earlier, I do love portrait mode. It's a feature on the iPhone. I know the other phones have it. I'm not sure what it is called, but basically you open up your camera, you choose portrait on the bottom, and then you hold your finger down on the object that you want to focus on, and then an AEAF lock will come up with auto exposure and auto focus, and then that object is what is going to be focused on, and then everything in the background kind of gets blurred out. And I think it's really effective with fish pictures. I started using it a little bit less because I also like to make reels now. And when you're making reels, I think the live photos work much better because you see that movement in the reels. But here's a couple great examples of portrait mode. That's Shanda Gephardt's son, Gavin. You really see that bass highlighted. We've got Michelle Vardy with the little sunfish there. Jen, this was your first brook trout, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And then that's a redfish that I caught in Louisiana. That's actually one of my favorites. It's focused highly on the redfish. And then I do like a pop of color in the background. Yeah. So I think it's one of my favorite modes to use for taking really cool pictures. And then fish selfies. This is important. So, because a lot of times you are fishing by yourself. And so we're going to talk a little bit about some tips for this, phone timers, practice or planning. I know I don't like fishing for large fish alone, but if I'm here at home and I want to go out and try to cast for muskies, I will plan it and I'll set up my phone prior on and put it in selfie mode and kind of see where it has to be in order for me to get a fish in the picture. And then using a video can really help. So let's say I have a muskie, I flip it over, I put it on video mode, and now I've got a lot of time to pick the fish up and then get it centered. And then you go back and freeze that video and screenshot it. And then selfie, do you have a selfie stick?
I have a micro tripod that I bring that you can just pop up.
Oh yeah, that is helpful. And then I know our toughest ones are kayak anglers. When I used to do kayaks and was part of tournaments, one of the keys there is prior to catching a fish, I know where my bump board's going to be, and I lift my arms up to see how, well, I'll say one because you got your hand on the fish, and I'll take just a practice photo of the bump board to see how high my arm has to be in order to get that full bump board or the full fish into the picture. The other thing that I would do is if I was close enough to shore is I would put the fish in the net and paddle the shore. But we feel your pain. We've both done kayak fishing. I know it's a whole nother level by yourself and in a kayak for getting good pictures.
So phone timers. This is something that if you haven't used your phone timer, we have two examples here of iPhone and Android. I have further examples if you have a Samsung or Google. So we'll start with the iPhone. There are two ways to get to the iPhone. So the top image shows you that little timer that is the timer that timer symbol that you'll be looking for. But you can either hit and I'm pointing at the screen like you can see me. If you hit the arrow at the top of the camera screen, that will pull up at the bottom of the camera screen where you hit that timer, and once you press it, you'll be able to set the time limit that you'd like to take your timer. And then the Android, the same. When you open that camera app, you're going to look for the timer icon and then set it up. With the Google and Samsung phones, there's actually voice activation on those phones where you can say like, "Hey Google, take a photo." Mm-hmm. So just explore that. Yeah, and like what Michelle was saying with your kayak, prepare, get ready, check out where your timers are on your phone. I actually just found mine this week, so
I think it's kind of buried. I always think it should be more obvious as to where it is. You showed me. I'm used to going to that little arrow on the top, on the bottom picture that you have there, and then sometimes you have to scroll over to even find the timer. Where you showed me, where you just scroll up and it shows up. That's very helpful, but it's still to me not super obvious. So it's better to practice and know where it is prior. Fishing albums on your phone. This is just a preference that I have. When I go to an event and somebody's like, "Hey, I want to show you this picture," and then they're just like scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, and I'm patient on the first one, but then if they want to show me 2 or 3 more, we're scrolling and scrolling, then I'm like, you need a fish album on your phone. So to create an album, you click on photos, and then you can choose albums at the bottom. Or there's either a plus sign on the top, or there's also an area that says create. Some of these versions are kind of changing depending on your version of the iPhone. And then I create an album, and I honestly each season put all my best fishing photos in there. So if somebody's interested in seeing my pictures, I am ready and I can rip through them pretty fast. So it's just kind of a fun, helpful tip. And then I don't think you knew this, and most people don't, that Fish Donkey, any picture that you take on Fish Donkey automatically goes to an album that Fish Donkey has created on your phone.
This is amazing.
The nice thing about that is if there's an issue, let's say you've taken a picture and you don't see it in Fish Donkey and you're worried, you can go to that album, and if you see it in there, then Fish Donkey should be able to assist and make sure that it gets into the tournament. If it's not in there, then you're SOL.
Yeah.
And then I do create a private Facebook album too, and that's kind of each season I create one. I've got about 600 pictures in it. It's super helpful for me to go back, and sometimes I'll put locations I was at. It tells me like, when did we start fishing last year for crappies? Um, it's just actually really a fun synopsis of the ice season or the fishing season. So that's just another tip.
And then of note, Brittany just wrote that you can also search fish on your phone to find those fish pictures.
Yes, Brittany, that's brilliant too. That's a great tip.
Thanks, Brittany. Okay, so filming. Once you're filming a fish getting caught, a lot of times we see these photos, these films of fish on, the fish gets reeled in, the fish gets up into the net, and then it gets shut off. Like some of the greatest memories are when that fish gets brought in the boat. Whoever's filming, keep filming,
Yes.
capture those moments so that you can go back and reflect and either like I like those films to critique myself, like my gosh, I was really panicked, or they went really well. And then also have that team plan when you're getting onto the dock or on the boat and say like who's going to be recording and make sure the person you're with knows how to turn on your fish donkey, because that could be a delay.
Oh my God. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I love to see the emotion and the excitement after the fish comes in. And then usually, you have to, if there's only two of you, yeah, you got to turn it off and start working on the fish. But let's see the excitement once it's landed. Fish donkey tips. All right, there's a lot here. I personally, if I have somebody else in the boat, I prefer to be the one taking the pictures. I've seen too many times where somebody gives the camera to somebody else. They're holding their own fish, and you've got Joe Schmo over here taking the picture from the side. They think it's good. You don't want to pressure them. That's why I like to just take it myself. But you open fish donkey, you stand directly over that bump board to take the picture versus standing off to the side. I've seen too many times where they can't tell if it's touching the nose of the bump board. Make sure you can read all of the numbers on this. If you can't read it, the judges certainly can't read it, and it puts them in a tough position. And then you get your hero shot, and then you put the fish back in the net, or if it's a smaller one, put it in the live well, and go ahead and check on Fish Donkey to make sure you've got the pictures that you need. This is an example of a member who caught a muskie, her first muskie, and it's her husband's got he's got his hat in the picture. Normally, if I'm the one holding, I've got my head back, making sure I'm not blocking the bump board at all. And so you just really want to be careful. The digital live well up there, that's the fish icon. Normally, I don't check this until I get home. But if you're not in a Wi-Fi area, then your pictures may not download. But once you get home to Wi-Fi, you should check to make sure that they did. And if they didn't, there's an easy way to do that. But yeah, the bump board, fish holder, hats off. Make sure the mouth is closed, and you can certainly pinch the tail too. And then if you're alone with a larger fish, use that video for the selfie. You can also videotape a long measurement too. I think that's helpful even if you have somebody else with you. It's a nighttime photo of a large sturgeon. It gets really hard when you're holding it up. So I'd take that picture. I'd also run the phone right along the fish and then zoom in at the numbers at the end. Practice the placement of your phone prior on the dashboard or a spot on shore if you're by yourself. WAM Master Anglers, this is kind of just a reminder that they do need to be submitted within 30 days. Keep your camera lens clean, and then use a video mode for long fish. So we could probably do a whole class on fish donkey tips.
Right.
Here, this is somebody asked, what is fish donkey used for? Because we do assume sometimes that a lot of people have done our tournaments. So it is an app on your phone that we use for both of our virtual tournaments and in-person tournaments. And so we've got the Ice Queen coming up starting December 26th. It runs all through January. And if you're participating in that, all of your fish pictures have to be taken through this app. You can't upload pictures that you've taken afterwards. So reach out privately, Deb, if you have some questions on how that works. But that is for our tournaments.
And here's a good example of a nice photograph of tail pinched. You can see where the length of the fish, the mouth is closed. You can even get the nice width of that fish in that picture. So that's a like what looks good for a fish donkey. So that's
That's
it.
nice. And a nice bump board. You have
A
to have
really
a
nice
bump board.
and the fish cradle too.
Fish cradle. So thanks for tuning in. Bottom line is, we know you love fishing. We know you like to show fish pictures. We just wanted to give you a few tips on how to make your pictures better, and of course, keep the fish safe at the same time. So thanks for helping with this, Jen. It's been fun working on it with you, and I'm looking forward to a great ice season out there.
Yeah, thanks, Michelle. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Take care.
Good night.